Go shopping with cotton bags. Professor Frimpong Boateng, who is science, technology, environment, and innovation, everything to do with science, what they call it, minister, telling the rest of this republic. So go with cotton bag, okay? As we work on the policy, go with cotton bag.
Okay.
And the Daily Graphic, pretty much the same stories. There's Kumasi sod cutting for the airport, and also the story on Anas's number 12 that was shown yesterday.
Now, the New Crusading Guide has a story that you'll be interested in. Bedukobi Owusu Bempa fight to end soon. And these are men of God in the Republic of Ghana, because they have exposed the faceless people behind this particular fight. I remember international lawyer thought that they are, primary actors, they are secondary actors, the tertiary actors. Those who are behind that and fueling it. Those people have been exposed. That's on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. With other stories that you'll be interested in, Anas's historic works, why this is number 12, is also in the New Crusading Guide.
And the Today newspaper, thousands defy rain to watch Anas Lands Commission estate developer cited in land grabbing at Nsawam and Sechikrom. That's from the Today newspaper.
Now, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning, candidates upon draft before privileges committee is there, and Muntia 3 case adjourned to October 23. The other stories that I should bring to your attention, highway robbers storm Yeji Market. They say it was a daily affair. Even when the police intervened, it didn't work out the way they wanted it to work out. And those are the stories on the front page of the paper by the name of the Ghanaian Times. The other stories in other pages that maybe we've been saying it, but now the minister himself has brought his voice to bear on the matter. He went to Parliament to tell them that the University of Ghana Medical Center will be opened end of July by hook or crook. And that's on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Anyway. To that.
All right. So yesterday we went to watch number 12. I don't know why I was calling her. Anymore, I heard you guys had to go there twice.
Charlie. So we went for the 3 p.m. Viewing. Thanks to Raymond, we got there just a little before 3 p.m. It was impossible. We couldn't get in. There were so many people there. They were pushing in. It was getting a bit, people were getting agitated because some people had VIP tickets, VVIP tickets. They couldn't get in. Apparently, people had been admitted without the proper checks of the times on the ticket. And so the conference center was full, even though people who were eligible to enter were outside. So we missed that viewing. We decided to sit the 5 p.m. one out because we figured, there would still be that. And so we did the 8 p.m. one.
The 8 p.m. one, when I was leaving from the 5 p.m. viewing, the 8 p.m. one looked quite cool.
Charlie, it was like, I don't know what's movie. I mean, it was a whole Jet Li production to try and get in. I mean, different doors. We used 3 different doors before we finally got in. And the funny thing was, the security was, they were trying, but they seemed to be working against themselves. So it was just a really funny
Especially
space.
the police, them literally were watching them. Look at them,
yes. And then at some point, the MC for the 8 p.m. show couldn't even get in to the building. He was standing outside with
us. Was
and
behind
he kept on telling the police that, Charlie, if I don't go in, the show will start. The guy won't listen to him. So we were standing right behind him. Anyway, so then we were finally able to go in at around 8:15, 8:20. Got to the doors, another issue, Anyway, finally we were seated, and it began. And you've seen it. I'm sure, there are thousands of people who have seen it. It was a heartbreaking thing to watch. For me, the irony was how we stood up and we played the national anthem, a song which, usually inspires and evokes so much pride and emotion, and you're listening to it. The first time it was played, you're listening, you're thinking, oh God, oh God, oh God, what am I about to see? Then they play it at the end of it and you're like, oh God, oh God, oh God. I'm not very happy to be a Ghanaian at this point. Very sad, very disappointing, from the referees, to the match commissioners, all the way down to the president of the GFA. That was the height of the feature. The things he said, the money that he took. Yes, you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I was just going to say that this is a good journalistic piece that we've seen, a good investigative piece that we've seen. It remains to see what the courts will decide.
Yes.
Because this is really a legal matter. And Raymond, if you look at the details of what we saw yesterday, there is a lot for the judicial system to chew on.
Yeah. It will be interesting to know how it will run, because you see, sometimes what is put in videos like this may not meet the standard test for courts to decide either for or against anybody in this particular case. We know that there is currently investigations ongoing in related to the president's report that there's some form of defrauding by false pretense in that particular case. Now, we put that one aside.
And that could even come down to influence peddling.
Yes, all of these ones are the ones that are being considered in this case. The problem is that the standard for fraud is a very high one. You have to meet all of these standards in court before you can get successful prosecution. But I think at least what people are expecting to happen is major reform at the football administration level. What we have not said is that we need major reform in politics too, because for some people of influence and control, like Mr. Nyantakyi, he seemed to have been very well into everything political in the country, that he was virtually in the engine room of governance and the declarations.
But
for
that
example,
is if what you were saying was
true.
That's the thing, because I'll give you an example before you continue. When he made the point about this 15 billion China loan, this is something that was in the news. This is something that was announced, and we knew that the money was going to go mainly in infrastructure. So some of what he said may have seemed like insider information, the way he presented it to someone who is outside the nation.
But he could have been lying.
That is also a point, Raymond.
Okay, so what I heard the president say, the president's response also gave me some worry. I did not get the categorical nature I would have expected from him, and even that of the vice president. But the vice president was even some more convincing to me. What I think should happen is not only state agencies probing the Nyantakyi angle, they should bust the wide open. This tape should be probed from every single level so that we'll be convinced that the state is not compromised, that this is not standard practice within state's curvature, because he made references to people. In fact, Kabu has denied some of the things that he has said.
Exactly.
But I do not expect that it will end up with only a review of what Nyantakyi has said in connection with the GFA. In fact, personally, I don't care the level of referees and because they are affecting the games down there. They are big-time political issues that ought to be discerned and dealt with the same way that the Nyantakyi matter is being probed, in a more consistent manner, so that we will get to know at least that this is not standard practice. This is not something that has compromised the highest authority in the country. Or else we are all in some form of a quagmire, which might not end as well in any way.
Very important observations there, and that's what Raymond thinks in terms of how this thing should move forward. I'm very curious to hear what you, our listeners, also think, and those of us watching us on Facebook Live. Let us know how you think we can remedy the situation. Where you think we can go from here? Our text lines are open: 0244 340437. Send us a WhatsApp message. Anyway, I want to round up the point.
Yes, I was just saying that for me, it's funny that Nyantakyi has not resigned. I don't understand why he's still president of the GFA. I'm hoping that by 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning, there'll be news of his resignation. I think that's, at the very least, that's what he can do. He has marred, whether there is lies, is truth, is boasting, he has marred the face of something, of a game that's very important and something that we're very passionate about.
You do have a point when you say that even if it is not true, even if he comes out innocent, just by the mere fact that the name of the GFA has come in disrepute by
and
this.
The things he said.
You do have a point, but we do not know.
In the rubber bag, walking away with
for
it.
What? So what does the $65,000?
But the $65,000 was a sort of, okay, this is the beginning. It was almost a commitment of a handshake. Okay, we're gonna work together.
No, but I meet you today and I take $65,000 from you.
After I've talked about all the things that I've talked about.
You see, it's up to the lawyers to decide.
I can aid you to compromise the state. I can aid you to bribe the president of the Republic of Ghana.
Did anything happen?
Nothing needed to happen. He said enough. I mean, people in that position are not allowed to just run their mouths like that.
Let's let the lawyers shed a bit more light on this for us. That's what happened during the show. But Raymond, another name that a lot of Ghanaians were looking to hear in the video was Kennedy Japan.
Yes,
but he made headlines even before we went to watch number 12.
That's true. When this was actually being, just around the time that the 3 p.m. people were watching their own, Parliament was deciding whether or not to haul him before the Privileges Committee, and they finally settled on the matter. Joe Osei, the first Deputy Speaker, was in the chair when the question was being raised by Alhaji Muntaka, who is actually a Minority Chief Whip. The Minority Chief Whip says that there's a tape which has the MP on making the claim that the House, that's the August Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, was cheap and useless. And this is because the House actually allowed somebody like Chairman Sabonsu, who is the majority leader to actually be a leader in that particular house. And he concludes by saying that, he finds it very offensive on becoming of a member of parliament, and for the past weeks he has been rampaging with insults, and that's what Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak said. Now, the basis for the action is two. Order 28 of the standing orders of the parliament stipulates that when a person was in contempt of the lawmaking body, you surely might have actually done an act or omission which obstructs or impedes Parliament in the performance of its functions, or which obstructs or impedes a member of office of Parliament or the discharge of this duty, or it's in affront to the dignity of the Parliament, or which tends to produce either directly or indirectly reduce the dignity of Parliament. Such an act is contempt. Order 30B also makes it that the same acts of contempt should have an affront to the dignity of Parliament, or tend to either directly or indirectly bring the name of Parliament into disrepute. So these are the two bases for which Ken Ejapon is being dragged before the parliamentary body that's supposed to do the disciplinary work. Now, other MPs supported it also on both sides. It's one of the things that you get MPs, minority and majority agree on. Ken Ejapon is the chairman of the Communications Committee in Parliament. He's a 5-time MP. No, he's been complaining about the modus operandi that Anas has been using in this particular quest, and has instigated so many times that Anas ought to be investigated. He released a small voice audio, and he's awaiting his own premiere of the
Who Watches the Watchman.
That is Monday that is supposed to happen. But when he made some comments which are said to be disparaging about Anas, the majority leader said his views do not represent that of Parliament, and that Parliament do not hold the same view. In fact, he even said the MPP in government do not share the views of the gentleman. But he got very angry and he gave it back to the man. Then this is the response from Parliament on this matter.
Now that you have announced the premiering of Who Watches the Watchman Part 2, I can say good morning to Sofumami and Domi. You just sent a message and asked us that. But speaking of messages, so many reactions have been coming in, particularly on social media and on Facebook. And myjoyonline.com has that shocking disappointment dominate Facebook reactions after Anas's number 12 premiere. You can go on myjoyonline.com and get all those interesting messages that have been coming through. But anymore, let's move away from this issue, shall we? Because there's a certain road that is finally open.
It's a story that makes me want to break out into song and dance this morning.
Okay, hold your fire.
Because it's my road. So great relief for Accra Kaswa road users as Malam Junction section opens. Now, if you remember, the road was closed on the 1st of May so that the construction of a 6 million cedi drain under the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Sanitation Projects could be constructed. I won't even ask why it wasn't constructed before the road or whilst the road was being constructed. Anyway, they've disrupted our lives totally. Journeys which take 20-30 minutes take 3 hours. So for me, the school run went from 30 minutes to 3 hours. It was crazy. I'm absolutely happy that the road has been opened. Apparently there's still a lot of dust because it hasn't settled and they haven't retarred the road yet. So they're just asking us to be patient with them whilst they try and deal with that problem. But it's fully functional and it's open. So to all those people who live in Kaswa, Weja, Tetegu, those that I know who have moved into town temporarily because of the road closure, it's time to head back home, guys.
Okay, you can go back home. Good morning to Engineer Gabriel Engman with the Gamma project. We spoke with him last week. Raymond, let's move on, shall we?
Yes, the president is cracking the whip. Yesterday, when all of these happenings were happening somewhere, and you were watching and Parliament was dealing with people, we knew that the president was also sacking people in the office of the president. Now, first and foremost, the Kolebu CEO, Dr. Anya, he was given a sack. And many, it was not stated why he was sacked, really, because the president certainly terminated the appointment. But you know that he's had some running with the health minister, some difficulties, or even up to now, the Kolebu board has not been constituted. It started first and foremost with the Unibank issue, which involved the deputy chief of staffs. There were some allegations by A+ and all of that, and all sat firmly on the table of Dr. Felix Anya. But finally, the president has asked him to, leave government for now. We don't know whether he's returning anytime soon. The interesting part is that this is a man who was recently nominated and adjudged the best CEO in both public and private sector. So what is he doing well in those areas that the president has not seen in this particular case? But others have also been asked to go anyway. The boss You know, there's a lot of scandal that rocked that particular bus recently. Fuel being sold at prices that were off spec, if I say contaminated,
yes,
became off spec. Yes. Then Gifty Clenam is also leaving government.
Ghana Exports Promotion Authority.
Yes. She's also said to have actually had some problems with her deputy. So the lady by name Saibu Akilu is what is said to have led the president into making a decision. Finally, Paul Ansah is the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority former boss immediately because Friday. That thing will take effect Friday.
Okay.
Paul Ansah is
so he's the boss of GPHA now.
They say they are doing restructuring. So he should step aside for somebody to take up that position and deal with it. There were complaints that Mr. Paul Ansah were not considering party people and other people who needed jobs within the setup. This job was some time ago rumored to have belonged to Sir John, but he was taken to forestry. These people are leaving government. We understand some others will be leaving soon.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Definitely interesting couple of days coming up. Let's go online now. And the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest. Goyle, Good Energy, and Selma Court, managed by Western World Properties. Live your true comfort. Buy your MTN Ghana shares at Zenith Bank and become a proud shareholder of leading provider of mobile telecommunication services in Ghana, MTN. Share prices are going for just 75 Ghana pesos per share. Purchase a minimum of 10 shares and multiples of 10 thereafter with this amazing offer. Visit any Zenith Bank branch nationwide with a valid national ID for a hassle-free purchase of your MTN Ghana shares today. For further information, talk to us 24 hours a day via 0302 680 884 0542 000 on ZChat, our live chat service at www.zenithbank.com.gh. Alternatively, contact us on Facebook and Instagram. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Now, Ghana's #1 indigenous oil marketing company, Goyle, gives you innovation that takes you further. The new Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. These expertly crafted lubricants work excellently with all modern petrol and diesel engines, provide superior cleaning and protection, reduce fuel consumption, prolong oil change intervals, and enhanced engine performance. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Engineering innovation for your vehicle has arrived and is available at all over 330 Goyle filling stations. Goyle, Good Energy. Now, when your landlord says your rent is due and you don't have any money, don't worry. Be happy and run to Selma Court, located at Katamanso, and move into your own dream house today. Are you a regular salaried worker or a business executive whose income can be verified? Then run to Selma Court today and sign the offer letter, and our finance partners will pay for you with no deposit and no hidden charges. Remember, terms and conditions apply. This offer is valid until 30th June 2018. You can also build your own dream house on our Selma Court, Selma Springs Premium Plots at Tema Community 25 and Pram Pram Beach. Selma Court is managed by Western World Properties Limited. You may contact us on 0545 558 988 or 0545 559 928 or visit our website on www.selmacourt.com or email us at info@selmacourt.com. Selma Court, live your true comfort. MyJoyOnline.com starts with that story I mentioned earlier. Shock, disappointments dominate Facebook reactions after Anas's #12 premiere. It also says child marriage still rife in Karachi East District in the Volta region, and the Financial Times says Facebook investors reject re-election of Zuckerberg to board. That's it for the online review. Also ending the news review at the moment. BBC News at 7 comes up in a moment. Stay with us.